Peace, y'all. Tia Banks here. Theodore Roosevelt said comparison is the thief of all joy. Yes, comparison can be the thief of all joy, but it's also a measuring stick to success. I hiked a mountain recently, the highest mountain in Colorado, Mount Elbert. I get to the base of the mountain and I'm hiking, no one is around. And all of a sudden I hear footsteps and you see signs that say, beware of bear. So I'm like, I got my little hatchet out. Is it a bear? And it was a person hiking so fast, like sprinting. And so I start to compare my steps to their steps. And I wanted to keep up, but I just didn't have the energy. And then all of a sudden, this person just faded into the forest. Here I am alone. When we talk about comparison, yes, it can be the thief of joy. Comparison is dangerous when it makes you complacent. It's also dangerous when it compromises your confidence. There is this theory, it's called the social comparison theory, back in the 1950s. Leon Festinger. He talks about comparison as it's a survival tool. Now, when we think about comparing ourselves, we do this because we're evaluating ourselves, our skill sets, our behaviors, our opinions, and our success. Social media is looked at as a bad guy because people are posting their highlight reels, and we're looking at it as like, this is the real standard of life. Not all social media is bad, and not all comparison is bad. The challenge is, where are you when it comes to comparing your educational journey to another teacher, to another principal? Here's where comparison is dangerous, when it does compromise your confidence. As an educator, you're thinking, why did they get that promotion to principal? You're comparing your student performance and tests to other school districts. You're walking around burned out while some other educators are walking around light and free because they've learned how to have work-life balance. You're following these other teachers or educators who have like 100,000 followers. They're influencers. They're not just teachers, but they're influencers on social media. And they're making bank because they got 100,000 followers. And I'm just trying to get by with this teacher's paycheck with my 100 followers. You're comparing yourself. This is where it's dangerous. You start to question your own self-esteem. Am I really making an impact on some of these students' lives? That's where comparison is the thief of joy. As I was hiking, I really didn't train properly for this mountain. 2 weeks ago, I said, I'm going to go hike a mountain. A week later, I went to hike this mountain. I wasn't necessarily physically prepared. It was all mental. No one's around. And then I hear more footsteps. It's a group of 3 guys. They speed past me. And I'm still hiking my pace, pole pole, slowly, slowly in Swahili. It means go your own pace, run your own race. Because on a mountain, you can't afford to get burned out. You can't afford to go at a speed that you're not accustomed to. You can't afford to go at a speed that is not yours. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting closer and closer to the summit, and people are coming down. And then there's this group that's like, oh, it's beautiful up there. Enjoy the snow. They got to see this beautiful view. They took pictures, and then they came back down, and I'm still hiking. Social comparison. I see myself, comparing my hike, my speed to people I didn't even know. I just see the smile on their face, the victory that they got to experience that I have yet to encounter. And that became a debilitating emotion. And then there was this guy that was hiking. He was like 500 meters away, but he seemed so far. Seeing him so far behind me, I'm almost ashamed to say this. Seeing someone so far behind me motivated me. It made me feel good. And in my mind, I'm like, you can do this, guy. I'm actually rooting for him to make it to the summit, but I'm like, don't pass me. Can I keep it real with you? I didn't want this person to pass me because I'm an athlete. It felt like I'd be in last place. But I needed that dopamine hit. I needed to feel like at least I'm better than someone. And see, that's where comparison can make you complacent. That's the danger in comparison. It can make you feel like you're so far out of reach and it'll make you question your skills and your abilities, or it can make you so complacent because you feel so great about yourself, you don't think you need to push harder. I finally reached the summit. It seemed like I was the last one there. I thought the guy turned around, and about 15 minutes later, he hikes up to me. We're both sitting at the summit. His name is Bill. Shout out to Bill. And I'm like, Bill, great job. And we both dap each other up. He was like, yeah, I'm moving at a slower pace. I'm like, hey, it's all good. You made it. This is what Bill told me. Bill had already hiked 4 mountains that week. He was on his fifth mountain. That was the only mountain I hiked that week. So Bill is carrying the weight of 4 other mountains, top to bottom, 14,000-foot mountains. He had every right to be behind me. You don't know the mountains that some of these other educators, the teacher of the year, has been carrying. You don't know the overtime that they've put in. You don't know the sleepless nights that they've had, maybe balancing getting another certification, another master's degree, furthering their knowledge. You don't know how many conferences they've attended. You don't know how many networking events, how many times they've had to step outside their comfort zone to ask for partnerships and write grants so that their school could have additional resources to better mental health, to improve student success. You don't know the mountains that they've climbed. What you see is the highlight. I learned something that day. I made it to the summit. There were people that were faster than me, and that is okay. See, they don't know the mountain that I had hiked before. I wasn't physically prepared, but had I been in better shape, maybe I would have been faster. And when it comes to Bill, I'm no better than that man. In fact, if we look at it, the fact that he had hiked 5 mountains that week in comparison to me, he's thriving. When comparison is the thief of all joy, here is how we overcome. The resilience skill, perspective taking. Get some perspective. Instead of criticizing yourself, I'm not smart enough. How come I'm not given opportunities? When you feel your dopamine drop, when you feel your shoulders shrug in disappointment, in frustration, reframe your self-criticism to curiosity. This is how you do perspective taking. Ask questions. What is something that I can learn from this person? I might be jealous, but behind the jealousy, it could be a little bit of admiration. How did they get teacher of the year? What steps are they taking to go above and beyond? I don't want to be the greatest educator that I can be. I'll help these students graduate, help these students do something that no one in their family has ever done, break some generational curses. I want to help that student who doesn't believe in themselves and see that light bulb go off. So perspective taking, ask questions. When we're curious, we open up possibilities. We reduce the shame, and it helps us emotionally regulate. Let's allow comparison to become inspiration for greatness. I made it to the summit of that mountain, and on the way down, my friend Bill sped past me. At the end of the day, we both reached our goal, and instead of competing, now we collaborate. That's a mind over mountains mentality.